So Carl Froch thinks that if Tyson Fury loses to Alexander Usyk for a second time, that he will retire after that. He does not think the Gypsy King will continue boxing. To quote him, he said, "If he loses to Usyk, I think that will be the last we see of Tyson Fury. He has had a bit of time to get over the defeat and go for it and had a good training camp. At 36 years old, he struggles to do the weight. He is slowing down and the stats are suggesting he is way past his best. If he goes out and earns another £50 million and then gets beat again, he isn't going to fight again. He's been great for the sport, but if Usyk does the job, which I think he does, then I think he will turn it in. You don't need any more money. You don't need to get punched in the head anymore. Go and spend some time with your family. He has had a fantastic career, but was beaten twice by the main man. But he is in good company. You can't complain." So those are the words of Carl Froch. And in a recent interview that Tyson Fury did, he said the following: "I've been in love with boxing for such a long time, from being a little boy, and I'm probably at the end of my career in the next few years. It's been a love-hate relationship. It's been toxic at times. When it's good, it's very good. And when it's bad, it's very toxic. So I'm in that relationship, and I don't just abandon things. I try and make things work, and that's where we are at the minute. We've been in this romantic relationship since I can remember, since I was a child, and now I am a fully grown adult with a family of my own. It's like, do I abandon it or do I not? I wanted to walk away a lot of times, but it always drags me back. It's like a massive drug and an addiction. I know it's an addiction, and I'm an addictive person. Boxing is an addiction. It's not my best friend. It abuses me. When I come in this gym, it abuses my body, my mind, my soul. But afterwards, I feel like it takes me to ecstasy. The rush is unbelievable. It gives me the biggest highs ever, but it also gives me the lowest lows as well." So those are the words of the Gypsy King. Now, when you take those two interviews, the one with Froch and the one with Fury together, it paints a picture of somebody who might well retire if he loses to Usyk again. But here's the thing. What does retirement really mean with Tyson Fury? Because he's retired so many times in the past, right? Quote unquote retired. So if he were to lose to Usyk again, maybe he does retire, but then let's say Usyk walks away from the sport. Perhaps Tyson Fury makes a comeback after that. That's something that Johnny Nelson suggested might happen. In fact, he suggested that Fury might not go through with the rematch, but would wait for Usyk to retire first before making a comeback. Either way, similar scenario, right? Speaking purely as a boxing fan, there are many interesting matchups for Tyson Fury to be in. Fury versus Bakole, Fury versus Zhang, Fury versus Joshua, of course. All of those fights may still be interesting, despite coming off a second loss to Alexander Usyk, depending on the nature of the loss. If he gives a good account of himself and he's somewhat competitive, then yeah. But if he gets totally destroyed by Alexander Usyk second time around, then maybe not so much. But if Tyson Fury did lose the rematch to Usyk, what would really motivate him to continue? He's made loads of money, doesn't need the money. Tyson Fury has maneuvered himself very cautiously during the second phase of his career, post-ban. It took 2 years to get Tyson Fury in the ring against Alexander Usyk. And that was a fight to decide who was the number one in the division. During the 2 years that Tyson Fury was messing about and kicking the can down the road, he was trying to gaslight the public into believing that he was definitely number one and fighting Usyk was really irrelevant. So obviously he cares deeply about being perceived as the best fighter in the world. If Usyk beats him again, Fury has no more excuses. He has no more ability to gaslight the public into thinking he's the best. He would have to settle for second place. Would he really want to risk that number 2 spot by fighting a Martin Bakole or a Zheli Zhang or an Anthony Joshua? If he retired at that point, he could potentially preserve that number 2 spot in the minds of many people, at least in the short term. Long term, people might see it differently. For me, that's what Tyson Fury potentially retiring after a second defeat to Usyk will hinge upon. How much he wants to keep that perceived number 2 spot. And that, of course, comes down to how much belief he would still have after a second defeat to Usyk that he could beat an Anthony Joshua. Now, the Tyson Fury of 5 years ago would have been, I think, very confident of beating AJ. But a Tyson Fury coming off 2 defeats might be a different story. Again, all depends on how he performs against Usyk, presuming that fight goes ahead. So it's an interesting thing to ponder, but only time will reveal. Give me your thoughts about all this in the comment section below. And before I go, make sure you check out my Joshua Dubois film study on my Patreon page. It's about 1 hour and 20 minutes long. I analyze actual video footage of several of their fights and do a technical breakdown of their respective strengths and weaknesses and discuss tactics. If you want to access this video along with hundreds of hours worth of other exclusive boxing content as well as our members chat, just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called the Boxing Brotherhood. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store. All the links are in the description box below.